next, I'm going to invite Agustin Cuello. Agustin, did I pronounce your name correct?
Cuello.
Cuello.
Yeah.
Cuello. And Natasha Opfel from DOT to, I had a meeting with them earlier this week, and they were going over the multimodal transportation improvement plan. And really, the presentation really blew me away because it really incorporated all of the elements that we've been working on as a community over the last 6 years in terms of planning, transportation, innovation, and really pulled it all together. So once I heard their presentation, I'm like, you guys have to come and present to the D1 Leadership Group because it really, again, paints that full picture of what we as a community have been working on over the last 6 years. So Agustin and Natasha, can you provide the group with that presentation?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let me share my screen. Thank you for inviting us to be here for to present the work that we are doing for West San Jose. I work with the city in the planning and policy team in DOT, and I'm the project manager for this plan. And Natasha is the engagement lead for the plan. So we are very happy to be here to show you all what we are doing for West San Jose and for D1. I want to talk a little bit about what's a multimodal transportation improvement plan. Then I want to share with you the goal and the timeline for the West San Jose multimodal plan. I'm going to review all those planning efforts and projects that the city is doing in D1. Since this plan is going to try to compile everything and provide the whole picture to the community. So we have a vision for you all. Then I want to share the outreach strategy, and we can have time, if possible, to question and feedback. So what's a multimodal plan? Why this is developing these plans? We want to build from an advanced past and ongoing planning efforts. We've been doing a lot, but we need to connect the dots and keep working to implement those projects. We want to identify the best ones that aligns with the local, the community goals, and the citywide goals. We want to produce designs, estimates, and an implementation strategy. So the plan is not only going to say, this is the vision we have for the area, but it's going to say, and this is how we can get there step by step. And then we can focus the city efforts on implementing the highest priority projects. We have completed the San Jose MTIP, and we are working on the downtown plan, the Berryessa plan, and also the West San Jose MTIP. And we expect to complete all these plans by the end of this year. Why we're developing this plan? The city has ambitious transportation goals. In the general plan, we have ambitious climate goals, as you all know. So the MTIPs are one of the tools that the city has to advance projects that align the transportation network with these goals. We have goals that are very challenging to achieve, and the network that we have doesn't align right now with those goals. So it's something similar to what the urban village plans are trying to do for land use. And we work closely with the urban village team to make sure that the NTIPs and the urban village plans complement each other. This map shows all the urban villages in D1. And we developed the boundary for the NTIP to make sure that we include all these urban villages. All the Horizon 1 urban village plan has been completed in D1. Stevens Creek Boulevard, Valley Fair, Santana Row, and Winchester Boulevard urban villages are completed. So what's the West San Jose NTIP? This plan has been funded by NTC. It's the same grant that we use to develop the urban village plans. And the plan vision is to promote the development of active, walkable, bike-friendly, transit-oriented settings, complementing the urban villages, but also consistent with the general plan goals. And we have 4 guiding principles. We want to be a plan that supports the health and the safety of the community. We want to promote social equity, multimodal mobility, and a robust economy. And at the end of the planning process, we will have a complete list of projects and programs for the area with conceptual designs, cost estimates, and the implementation plan. This is a lot of text, but I wanted to share just a couple of images of what we're thinking about. This is from the Urban Village Plan. So the Urban Village is going to create places where we want to stay, enjoy with friends, family, relax, and be active. And the transportation plan is going to make not only those places enjoyable, but the way that we move through those places, the way that we connect with other places, also enjoyable. For example, you can go to the urban village, have a coffee, and then in your way back home, you can walk. And that walk is also very pleasant to have. Or if you want to go to downtown, you can jump in a transit that is fast, reliable, clean, and you enjoy that ride. And you can see through the windows that the city is beautiful and things like that. This is another image. As you can see, we want to improve the pedestrian environment, the bike environment, the transit, and connecting the land use development in the urban villages with the transportation network. I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that we have completed and the timeline. There are 4 phases in this plan. We have completed phase 1 with the sitting condition and the engagement strategy, and we are moving to phase 2 to develop a draft list of projects and improvements. The phase 3 is going to be about cost estimates, timelines, and the implementation. And the last phase is just to prepare all the documentation for NTC to review, since this is a grant provided by NTC. And we're going to start the community engagement this month, and we hope that we can come back here to present as we move on this plan. This is a list of all the previous and concurrent planning projects that we have in West San Jose. As we mentioned, the urban village plans. We have the San Jose Better Bike Plan, very comprehensive bike plan for the entire city. We have 3 BTS studies: the Stevens Creek Visioning Study, the Bascom Completed Street Study, the I280 Corridor Study. We have the Innovation Zone, looking at how new technology can improve the quality of life of the residents. We have the study for the pedestrian covered crossing between Stevens Creek and Winchester. We have I280 Winchester Interchange, the Vision Zero Action Plan, and the pavement program. A lot of things going on in West San Jose in D1, and we hope that this plan can put everything together, prioritize what's more important for residents, and deliver those projects. I want to highlight 2 examples of that list that we have. This is the I280 interchange. We're going to have a new off-ramp between 280 to Winchester. This is a regional project. It's going to provide more access to the community. And I also want to highlight the pavement program. The city has an extensive pavement program. We pave a large amount of corridors every year. And in the next 3 years, we're going to pave key corridors in D1 and West San Jose. We're going to pave Stevens Creek, San Carlos, Meridian, Bascom, and the city leverage this program to implement quick build improvements on the roadway. So hopefully the plan can make use of this program to improve sidewalk, improve crosswalk, things like that. And then we will find additional funding for the long-term improvements. Grants, we'll try to work with the development community to implement the improvements. We can use Measure B funding as well. As I said, we're going to start the engagement strategy soon. We're going to start with an open house where we're going to show a presentation similar to this one, just to get initial feedback about what are the issues that the community see for West San Jose, what are the goals. We're going to update the website. We're going to do online surveys. And then we'll have listening sessions with some community groups to really work through the details of the plan. West San Jose, this empty boundary, is a large area of the city, but we want to have a listening session with smaller groups to focus on particular areas. We're also meeting with other stakeholders like BTA, the county, the city of Santa Clara, making sure that we all agree on the vision for this plan. And finally, by the summer, hopefully we can have a final open house as well, where we can share the draft plan with everybody. So with that, thank you so much for inviting us. And if you have any question or feedback, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Agustin. We could take a couple of questions. Carlin, go ahead.
Yeah, you sort of skipped over the innovation plan. This may be as much for Chappie as for anybody, but what's going on with the innovation plan? I've seen a year ago, we've had a whole bunch of proposals coming in that would really affect West San Jose. And I'm wondering what's going on with that.
Thank you for that question, Carlin. So we have two projects that we've rolled out. One is, it's not actually in the boundaries of the innovation zone, but it's close enough. Our gunshot detector technology that we're deploying in the Cadillac Winchester neighborhood, which is going to be rolled out in the next couple of weeks. And then we also have a program that we've just implemented called Feed Our Frontline Workers. And we want to provide everybody with that information because we're giving the community an opportunity to donate money that will go to frontline workers, hospital workers, healthcare professionals, fire personnel, to be able to buy food from local community restaurants. So you're doing two things. You're supporting our hardworking frontline workers who are making sacrifices for us, as well as supporting local small restaurants. So we're rolling that out. We've actually rolled that out. So you have the opportunity now to donate to that effort. And those are the two projects that we've currently are implementing. And then we have several others still in the queue. Like everything else, COVID has delayed a lot of our efforts, but we're getting back on track, and stay tuned for other technologies that we're going to be rolling out in the not too distant future. Bob.
Thank you, Agustin. That was a great presentation, very exciting project. I noticed that the Saratoga and the El Paseo area are on tier 3. There's a lot of development pressure on that area right now and the need to do advanced planning for the area. So I'd like to see if there's a way we could move that to tier 2.
Yeah, as part of the general plan for year review, and the city is considering to remove that tiering system. So if that is approved, all the urban villages will be at the same level of tier. So we can develop them as needed. If we see that there is a development activity, we can actually implement those plans without looking at the horizon.
Okay, great, because we know, if that development continues to happen in the area, we know what's happening with El Paseo, and Westgate West is about 50% unoccupied. Something's going to come sooner or later. We got to get ahead of it. The other item is I noticed that there was a pedestrian overcrossing at Stevens Creek and Winchester. Are we finally going to see a pedestrian overpass between Santa Row and Valley Fair, something that's long, long overdue?
We have completed the first feasibility study is in a draft form. But in that study, DOT has looked into several options for that overcrossing. So now it's a matter of reviewing that study and decide if we need to move to the phase 2 with more detailed design or not. But yeah, we're moving on that front. And hopefully you will know more about that project.
Great. Well, thank you very much. This is a very exciting project, and I look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I'm signed up today for the Emerging Mobility Action Plan digital workshop. Is that part of this program?
That program is led by the Vision Zero team in DOT. We're gonna work with them to include the projects that they define in that plan and fit those projects into this plan. So there are two different work streams, but we are coordinating with them to make sure that everything is included in this plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy?
Hi, this is a really interesting plan. I agree with Bob that I'd like to see kind of sooner than later look at multimodal transportation improvements in the future Paseo to Saratoga urban village, which we lots of changes happening here. But I was wondering for these kind of more outlying communities that don't have light rail stations and, you know, kind of some major permanent, you know, public transit resources. What do you see as some of the likely opportunities for increases and improvements in public transit? Is it just like additional buses, like more rapid bus transit? Are there other ways that you know, other things that we might ways to see people be able to move on public transit to kind of connect us with downtown or with the Stevens Creek corridor, for example?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And we are developing a toolbox with options to show to the community. And those toolbox are going to be categorized by mode. So for example, if we see a corridor that we want to improve the pedestrian activity, we'll show the community a toolbox with options. We want to extend the sidewalk. Do we want to improve the crossings with pictures? And the community can chime in and say, for this particular corridor, I want to see these 2-3 improvements in these 2-3 locations. So we will work with the community to identify those improvements. For transit, it's more challenging. Since we have to balance the right of way between the cars and the transit and the bikes. Yeah, so there is some analysis to be done before we can provide a project, but we'll follow the same approach. We'll develop those toolbox with options. We will come here or to other meetings to show those to you those options, and we can talk about which one makes sense for each particular location and corridor, for sure.
All right. Thank you, Amy. If there's, Bob, you still have your hand up, or is that, okay. All right, well, thank you, Agustin and Natasha, for coming out. As everyone can see, their presentation, again, really presented that bigger, fuller picture of what we've been trying to do as a district, and, you know, what the community has been engaged with and what our office has been doing over the last 6 years. And it really just captured, you know, pretty much everything, and it really showed how everything is interrelated and that our plan is starting to come together. So I was really excited when I saw the presentation, and I'm glad that you had an opportunity to see it as well. Again, any additional questions, information that you need about San Jose Water, we can schedule follow-up meetings with that. We can have follow-up meetings with DOT. And I know we've run out of time, but if you have questions, concerns, invite me to your neighborhood association Zoom meeting. We've been doing a lot of those lately, And it's really been a great opportunity to, one, re-engage with the community, but two, if your neighborhood association is not active or you haven't been meeting, then it's a good opportunity to get people together, use me as a draw so they can come and talk to me directly. And let's get those meetings scheduled and have those conversations and dialogues. So on that note, Ken.
Yeah, no, thank you for that offer, Vice Mayor. That's very, very generous. We have like 3 minutes or so for questions. If people have any questions of you,
Sure.
So I did have a question.
Sure.
I've seen several, this is for Vice Mayor Jones. I've seen several reports around the neighborhood of large groups of bicycles going through and, taunting the traffic and making people uncomfortable, I guess, is what I'll say. Are you familiar with this, and are there efforts underway to respond to this?
So I have seen some next door postings on that. It came to my attention fairly recently. So we haven't taken any action to address it. We want to see if it was like a one-time or two-time event, or is this going to be an ongoing problem? But I am aware of it. I don't know who that group is, but if it continues to be a problem, then we'll definitely put resources to address it.
Okay, so the people that I have spoken to reported it to SJPD, so you should be able to reach out to them to get details on occurrences.
Yeah, it sounds like it was very well organized. There were quite a few people.
It was big,
involved.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you, everyone.